Nobody talks about travel like this. And honestly, I didn't understand or realize it until sitting in my Airbnb one day in Cleveland, realizing, oh, this is a technology. When people hear the word technology, they think of app, devices, cars even. But technology really isn't a thing, it's a function. Technology should make our life easier, better, allow us access to something that we didn't have before, like each other through something like social media. It takes you somewhere that you couldn't get on your own. When I started to think about what you experience on a solo sanctuary, it's exactly the same. If technology should make your life better, easier, give you access that you never had before, a solo sanctuary does the same thing, but for your inner life. And I don't mean easier as in necessarily comfortable. It could be, but baby, trust and believe, I was very uncomfortable in Cleveland. I mean, y'all have seen it, crying at the airport, paying $100 bag fee because I was too emotional to figure out how to move 10 pounds around between 3 different bags that I had. I was not thriving at first. But critical part is it made my life easier in the ways that matter the most. Easier to heal, to transform, to hear what it is that you really want and need. Easier to stop being whatever for everyone and just be yourself. And that's the technology doing its work. Here's the second thing a technology does. It's forward facing. A car doesn't just move you through space. It changes what's possible, where you can go, and in how long it'll take you to get there. A solo sanctuary does the same thing. You're not just taking a trip. You're designing your future while rooted in your own presence. And I think that's part of what people miss. They think a solo trip or a solo sanctuary is just about rest. I just need rest. Well, I can do that at home. And you can rest on a solo sanctuary. But on a solo sanctuary, you're actually creating the conditions of rest to hear what is coming from your heart, where you need to go next. My downloads in Cleveland were so clear, like a little embarrassing, like, girl, get on somewhere with that. So specific. Things that I have been confused about for months. Boom, solved. Boom, cleared. It was amazing because I didn't force it. I was finally still enough to sit and hear and receive what was needed. And that's the technology. You're not just visiting a new city. You're accessing a future version of you. The third thing technology does, it solves complex problems, right? Well, tell me this. What's more complex than your life? Hello. Then figuring out how you want to live it and who you want to be in it. Accessing the version of you that's there underneath all the expectations, the responsibilities, the pressure, etc. We spend thousands of dollars on coaches, therapists, gurus trying to solve this problem. And I'm not saying that those things don't work. They do, or they may. But a solo sanctuary gives you something different. It gives you literal space, uninterrupted, unscheduled, unrehearsed, no pressure, accountable to no one space for things to actually shift, to sit with the complexity of your life, your being, your soul. Decide to let what needs to go out be free. I honestly journaled things in Cleveland that I had never let myself write before in my life. And baby, when I tell you I have journal, like I always have a journal, but this was different. The level of honesty was new and deeper. And not because the thoughts were new, they had been there. But I wasn't giving myself the freedom, the permission to feel them. And that's the technology working, solving the most complex problem. You, boo. The fourth reason why a solo sanctuary is a technology is that a technology gives you access to places that you never had before. A telescope lets you see space. A microscope lets you see what's invisible to the naked eye. And a solo sanctuary is that portal to your innermost self. Not the self that shows up for everybody else. Not the self that's aware of everyone else's needs and managing them so efficiently. The self that exists when nobody's watching and nothing is required of you. Most of us never actually meet that version of ourselves. Or we let her in once a year on vacation, but then we spend the rest of the year completely disconnected from her. The solo sanctuary is like the plug that gives you that access back. At one point, I was sitting at Lake Erie, just meditating with the waves, the water, the sand. I started to feel like I could walk on water. Like I was that connected. I was about to step out there to where until I realized, girl, it's time to go. It had been a minute the last time I felt that alive, that connected, that free. And that's not just a nice moment, right? That's access to something that was always there, but I was preoccupied with everything else going on to feel it. Here's what I want you to know. When people hear solo travel, solo sanctuary, they think, oh, that's nice. I would like to do that. People tell me that I inspire them, but then people will turn around and say, well, I don't have time for that. Or I don't even know where I would go. Or that just sounds indulgent. And I get it. I do. But if you understand that a solo sanctuary is a technology that's going to take you to places you've never been before, it's not a vacation, it's not a reward that you have to earn, and it's not an escape. It changes how you think about it and how you may prioritize it in your life. You wouldn't say, well, I can't afford to use my phone this year. Hello. You wouldn't say, well, GPS just makes my life too easy. Therefore, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go back to MapQuest. You use the tools that make your life easier. This is the tool that makes your inner life free. One that helps you design the life that you actually want. One that solves the most complex problems that you have in life. Your purpose, your passion, and how you want to live your life. Doesn't have to be 6 days. Doesn't have to look like mine. It just has to be intentional space. Alone. Away from your normal responsibilities and ideally your normal environment. That's the technology. It's so simple and it is available to you. My question to you, my loves, is what problem has been sitting in your life that you haven't been able to solve because you haven't had the space to let the answer come through? That's what a solo sanctuary is for. And if you want support designing yours, the intentions, the preparation, the practices, the reintegration, the whole thing. I'm opening enrollment for my 6-week live guided experience. You can join the wait list and I'll give you everything. And remember, the journey is always back to you.